Hi everybody, welcome to this week's video. My name's Rebecca of ArtistRebeccaLS. This is the channel where we have fun with art. In today's video, we're going to be having a look at useful artist items. So items that I find useful and an addition to help me with my art. Let's go. Okay, everybody, so first thing up is mugs. Mugs with handles. I find these really helpful. Hopefully you can see it on camera. For storing my pencils. And I like to categorize. So, for example, this eel mug, which is ridiculously heavy, and no one in their right mind could ever use it to drink from. I categorize, so I just have my luminance pencils and my Derwent drawing pencils and the odd Holbein colouring pencil. So basically my high class, expensive colouring pencils are in that one. Then we move on to, I think they're called neodymium, or they're magnetic hooks. And my desk has a metal rim. And what I like to do is I attach them around the edge of my desk. I then get these cheap pencil cases by a company called Waitex, and they come with this plastic loop with their label, and the loop is attached to the zip. So I hook this onto this, and then it dangles on my desk. And so this helps with storage solutions. And you can see, here, they're really quite strong. So I just put that back on my desk. There we are. And then the other useful things to have are tins. And in here, I store my Daniel Smith watercolour sticks. Haven't used these in a while. Okay, no, they're not. Oh, yes, they are. Sorry, I forget what they are. They're a mix. Here is the stick, and there, and here, and here. The others, and here is a buff titanium. The others are the Holbein watercolours. So that's like my main palette that I use. Those are the colours, basically, that I use all the time. And I think these tins, they're quite cost effective. You can get them on Amazon. Then, I'll just move this of what we've done so far. Then I like to have these airtight containers, kind of Tupperware in a way. You can put them in the freezer and the microwave and all of that, but they're airtight. And I use these for my crayons, the Neo Colours by Caran d'Ache. Basically, I only use the water-soluble ones, so the Neo Colour 2s. So they're all in here. Whatever you do with them, they are going to get dirty, but you can clean them up really quite easily. I know some people will categorise by colour, and that's another thing you could do. So they're all in there nice and secure. And I leave those in my drawer. Now, the other handy thing is a glass stir stick, because you can wipe clean really easily, and they're really quite durable, and so you can mix up your paint a lot easier and quicker. So I always have one of these available. I also have a pipette. Now, this is glass. Doesn't have to be glass, but I love having the pipettes for soaking up the water, filling up my water brushes. That's another useful item to have, is a water brush like this. I prefer getting one from Rosemary & Co. They were just about £2.10, and they're really good from Rosemary & Co. This one isn't from Rosemary & Co. It's about half the size of this, from Rosemary & Co, a small one, but it's brilliant. And so with this, you just unscrew and you then fill it up and you're good to go with your water. So very handy to have are those two. So we'll move those off and look after them because they are glass and I have a tile floor. So the next thing is a chiffon duster cloth. I always have these about, loads of them, not just for dusting the house, but for wiping my brush clean with the water and cleaning and mopping up the paint. And you put them straight in a washing machine and they wash really well. So I love these. Then we have got, I just unwrapped them from the tissue, these ceramic little dishes. And I love these. It was such a good purchase. They were €10 and I have a feeling they're tapas dishes, but it didn't matter what they were. These were the perfect size I wanted because I have a very small table and so I can line them up and it all fits very neatly. Now I use them, the purpose is for mixing up the colours. Your watercolours will last a whole lot longer if you are mixing and adding water and doing your mixing in another palette. Now, I don't like the plastic palettes. I really don't like them. They bead and you'll get lots of dots and lots of beads and it's really annoying to try and actually get a decent wash from that. So I would say that this is a very worthwhile investment. I don't actually like ceramic palettes. They're too big, they're too bulky, and they take up too much room. So having individual little dishes means that you could do 1 or 2 mixes in one little dish, and that you can put them at different angles, you know, widthways, lengthways. When you get a ceramic palette, you're kind of stuck with just how it is. And then these stack wonderfully well, and I wrap them in just a tissue, just for keeping the dust out of the paint that is on the top. So the next thing, and you will have seen this in a recent video, it is a travel palette that is mainly used for acrylic paint artists and gouache artists. And this is my gouache palette. I refilled it this year, but we're getting a bit low again because I use it for illustrating children's stories, and I am currently working on one at the moment. So this is just so helpful. Not only is it small, it comes with, you just saw me take off, this is a silicone gasket, they call it, basically a lid, and it forms an airtight protective covering. So when you've used it, spray a little water and put the lid back on, and it will keep it moist for weeks at a time. I haven't used this in a couple of months and it's still good. The paint will get thicker and thicker, so you just add a bit more water and stir it all up and you're good to go. I don't obviously recommend that you constantly keep doing that, because obviously the more water that you add, the weaker the paint gets, if that makes sense. And try and line up to the colour of your gasket when you put it back on, because otherwise it does mess up your paint a bit. And also remember, as I've put in my other video, keep this clean. Use it as a mixing tray, but wipe it all clean afterwards, because otherwise you get a thick build-up of paint and the lid won't close. And we've just had a jet plane fly over. Our dog thought it was like thunder and lightning. He's almost died by the sofa. So moving on, we have then got this new gadget. Well, it's new to me. I find this actually quite useful. It is for well, it was made for people who do plein air painting, so painting outside. And basically, you can create your window, your view. It's a view catcher. So you line it up for your view, you know, you're outside. It doesn't have to be outside. It can be in your living room. It's about framing, finding a nice thing to paint, and looking through it kind of blacks out anything at the side. So you look through and you go and close one of your eyes when you're looking through it, and you just go around and you look and you see, does that look a nice frame? Or does that? Or does that? Does this? And you kind of work it out from there. So that in itself is helpful. You then have the hole in the middle, which is about the colour. You can isolate a colour really well, particularly at the distance. If you're in a field, you can isolate things a lot better. I also like to use them for doing panels in my sketchbook. So you could use this as a perfect square size panel for doing that. Then we get to this monstrosity, the Derwent dividing tool. You saw this in a recent video, I think in my unboxing video. It's still relatively new. It has this little screw here at the top, and it's like a big pair of scissors that you can open and close top and bottom like this. And the whole point of it, the top end is your reducer. So depending on the distance that you're stood at will determine the size on your canvas or paper. So for example, if I don't know, I'm very close to this pot of pencils. So I would open it up and it would be at about this size. You see, it's kept this size, and I would put that down on paper and put a mark here and here, because that would mark the top of the pencil pot. And I would then have a look to see at the bottom of the mug going down, reduce it a little, and I would then do that at the bottom of the page and mark it. And then I would know that that would be an almost perfect reduction to actually get everything fitting on the page. Do you see what I mean? Hopefully you do. Now this apparently is like, it will make it bigger, apparently. So you kind of, let's do the same again. Let's go closing one eye, kind of get it to there, and then again we put that down. It already looks bigger actually. So it has enlarged it already. So that's interesting. It would make it bigger, basically, and smaller. So it's handy to have it. But again, other people can use, what did they recommend? Let me think. Chopsticks tied together. You could try that. But I quite like, for a beginner, to actually have a proper tool, so that you kind of get an understanding of, for me, the sticks wouldn't have worked because I couldn't get my head around how it's supposed to work anyway. Whereas when you have a proper tool, you can get your head around how it's supposed to work, and then you can adapt to make your own version. That's how I kind of like to work things. So guys, with that said, we've come to the end of useful products to help you in your art journey. I hope that you have found this useful. Let me know if you've got any useful products that we all can learn from in the comments below. And I'm going to catch you really, really soon. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that you enjoyed my content and they'll share it with more people. Also, give me a comment. And if you have time, share my video with other people. I'm going to catch you really soon, guys.